The HOA president's son called 911 because I locked my own gate. Yeah, you heard that right. A teenager dialed emergency services because a grown man dared to latch his own fence. They claimed my yard was a public path. By the time it was over, I'd uncover a developer's secret deal, a crooked HOA president, and a conspiracy running right through my property line. It all started simple. My name's Kirk Jordan. My wife Pam and I bought our place in Cedar Crest Meadows for peace, the kind of quiet that hums with cicadas and the soft gurgle of a creek out back. For 2 years, it was perfect. Our dog Buddy had room to run. Pam grew tomatoes, and I could sit out back after work just listening to the water. Then Karen Wilson moved in across the street. She was a Category 5 in yoga pants, sharp voice, fake smile, clipboard in hand. Within 6 months, she'd somehow become the HOA president, and overnight the rules multiplied like weeds. Mailboxes had to be eggshell beige garbage cans vanished by 9:01 a.m., and Christmas lights timed like a military operation. Her teenage son Kyle was the miniature version of her, just with acne and a dirt bike. He and his friends started tearing through my side yard to reach the creek trails. They flew past Buddy so close he yelped and hid under the porch. I walked across the street calm and polite and told Karen what was happening. She smiled that Stepford smile and said, "Boys will be boys, Kirk. They're just using the community's natural resources." I told her my yard wasn't a community resource. She didn't blink. "It's been a path for years," she said. "Would be a shame to break tradition." Then she turned to Kyle and whispered, just loud enough, "Keep using it. He'll cave." So I built a gate. A simple wooden gate 4 feet high matching the fence. Looked good, worked better. The next time Kyle tried to speed through, he slammed into a solid no. A few days later, I heard yelling outside and saw him pacing with his phone. 10 minutes later, blue and red lights. Cops. Karen strutted over, her voice ringing out, "Officers, this man's illegally barricaded a public path. The kids are trapped." I wiped my hands on a towel, walked over. The older cop sighed, reached over, flicked the latch. Click. The gate swung open. "Kid," he said, "this is how gates work." Karen's face turned 3 shades of red. I thought that humiliation might end it. I was wrong. A week later, the first HOA violation arrived: unauthorized structure. $50. I pulled out the CC&Rs page, 87 section 9 paragraph B. Fences and gates are permissible on side yards provided they're under 6 feet and match the property. I checked every box. I sent a formal appeal, quoted the rule word for word. 2 weeks later, appeal denied. No reason, just denied. Then came a flood of new violations: grass 1/4 inch too high, trash cans out 1 hour late, 50 here, 75 there. It was death by paper cuts. At night, Pam and I saw flashlights outside Karen and her stooge Gary doing compliance patrols, creeping around our windows. It stopped feeling like a neighborhood and started feeling like surveillance. That's when Pam got serious. She printed every letter, every email, every photo from our security cams. We pinned them on a corkboard, our proof wall. It looked like something out of a detective movie. Every fine, every date, every lie. And still the hits kept coming. One night Pam froze while reviewing footage. "Kirk, you need to see this." On the screen, a drone. A small hovering eye staring right into our yard. I felt something primal rise in me. I wanted to grab a bat and swat it out of the sky. Pam's hand stopped me. "Don't. That's what they want. If you break it, you're the criminal." She was right. So instead we got smart. Pam tracked the drone's make, model, and FAA number from the footage. We filed both a police report and an FAA complaint, attached the case numbers, and mailed a letter to the HOA board. We didn't name names, we didn't have to. The drone vanished the next day. But that told us everything. Karen knew, and she was scared. Weeks later, Pam found the missing puzzle piece. Kirk. Oh my God, I found it. She'd been digging through public records and stumbled across a series of emails between Karen Wilson and a development executive from Creek View Developments. The company was building luxury eco cabins across the creek. They needed a bridge and a pedestrian access corridor through our HOA to reach it. On the map, that corridor cut straight through my property, my side yard. The same public path they claimed always existed. Karen had promised access she didn't own. In exchange, a community improvement fund she'd control plus a personal finder's fee. She was trying to sell my land to close her deal. Every fine, every drone, every stunt, it was all part of a cover-up. She wasn't just a bully, she was a crook. Then came her final threat, a red notice from the HOA: remove the gate in 48 hours or face foreclosure. That Saturday, the sky split open with a thunderstorm, wind, rain, the kind that rattles the windows. Midnight was her deadline. Pam and I had cameras rolling on every side of the house. At 12:11, the motion alert pinged. 2 figures in hoodies crept up to the gate, Kyle and his buddy. The flash of metal bolt cutters. My pulse spiked. "Pam, call 911. She whispered, cameras rolling, hands visible. I stepped out into the storm rain slicing across my face. "Get away from my gate," I shouted. Kyle turned eyes full of hate. "You can't own nature." Then he lunged, shoved me hard. I slipped, hit the mudlights spinning. Sirens screamed through the wind. Police cars screeched up just as Kyle bolted into the dark. And then came her voice, sharp and rehearsed. "He attacked my son." I saw the whole thing, Karen in her robe playing the victim under flashing lights. I could see the younger cop's hesitation, suspicion flickering in his eyes. My chest tightened. I thought, this is it. She's going to win. After all the rules, the proof, the patience, she's going to turn it on me. I felt helpless, like maybe I'd pushed too far. Maybe I was the problem she said I was. But before I could speak, Pam stepped onto the porch, rain in her hair tablet glowing in her hands. Her voice was steady, clear. "Officer, you need to see this, and so does she." Half speed, she hit play. The hidden trail cam footage rolled infrared crystal clear. It showed Kyle and his friend breaking the gate, me shouting, and Kyle shoving me to the ground. Pam swiped new angle, Finley's window camera, another swipe, Sarah's phone, perfect audio. 3 sources, 3 truths, no escape. Karen tried to sputter. "It's fake. It's edited." The older officer just raised a hand. "Ma'am, let's just watch." When it ended, he turned to me. "Mr. Jordan, would you like to press charges?" I looked her dead in the eye. "Yes, for trespassing, criminal mischief, and assault." The cops found the boys minutes later, soaked and sobbing. Kyle's record would go to juvenile court. Karen's face, pure venom. The storm ended, but the war didn't. For days I waited for her next move. It came in the form of silence, a dangerous calm. Then Pam smiled one morning, tapping the HOA handbook. You know her favorite weapon, the noise rule. 55 decibels after 10 p.m. She flipped to the page. Guess whose golf cart hit 72? Tuesday night, we set the trap. Pam with a camera upstairs, me in the garage with a decibel meter. Finley across the street with his phone. At 10:17 headlights, the rumble of Gary's modified cart. The needle jumped 60, 65, 72 decibels. I filmed the meter. Pam filmed the pass. Finley filmed the witnesses. The next morning, I filed the complaint official form, notarized affidavit, 3 videos, all sent to every board member by certified mail. A week later, the HOA fined its own president and vice president for noise violations. The neighborhood laughed. The fear broke. People started to talk again. We weren't done. Pam drafted a petition calling for a vote of no confidence in the current HOA leadership. We needed 10% of signatures. We got 30% in 2 days. The clubhouse meeting that Thursday was standing room only. Neighbors packed shoulder to shoulder. Karen sat up front, clutching her binder. I stood at the projector. It started with a gate, I said, clicking the first slide, a photo of my fence, then the bylaw proving it was legal. I walked them through every fine, every email, every drone photo. The room grew colder, angrier. Then I showed the map, the red line running straight through my lot. Gasps, murmurs. Finally, I projected the emails, Karen's correspondence with Creekview Developments, the mention of her finder's fee. The crowd erupted. She stood shouting, "That's confidential, that's preliminary," but it didn't matter. They'd seen the truth. One by one, the votes were cast. The motion to remove her passed 52 to 48. The clipboard queen was dethroned. Her last play was spite. A month later, we got a letter from City Hall. Karen had filed a city complaint claiming my gate blocked a public right-of-way. We were summoned to mediation. The room was beige, soulless, bureaucratic. She arrived in a suit binder slamming onto the table. She talked about historic pathways and community spirit. She almost had the mediator nodding until I pulled out a small metal latch, the same model as the one on my gate. I set it on the table. This, I said, sliding it shut is locked. Click. And this, I opened it, is unlocked. Clack. This is how gates work. The mediator cracked a smile, then looked at Karen. A gate is not a wall, she said flatly. Your complaint has no merit. Case dismissed. Karen lost her title, her power, and soon enough her house. The HOA refunded every bogus fine. The new board rewrote the rules to protect homeowners from abuse. And me, I went home oiling the latch that started it all. The metal slid smooth solid. Click, clack, simple, honest, final. Because in the end, it was never about a gate. It was about standing your ground no matter who tries to move your fence line.